All right. So I think we
I
are back.
think we are back, and Zoom has a problem when it starts recording when I'm on video. So when I start the recording, I should turn off the video first and then bring it on again. Maybe. Let's see. Well,
Yeah.
welcome back to the Roger and Chakra show, which is going to be on every Sunday morning. And I think I must apologize for all the glitches that Zoom keeps putting in. They must be very disturbing to the audience. Um, Actually, we must ask Zoom to apologize to all of us. So, anyway, here we are again, and I want to start by saying thank you to all of you for your attention and your time. Roger has really no business to be doing this. And Roger is doing this out of love and passion. He is really passionate about getting this show going, even more passionate than I am, though the channel is mine. So please do support us by watching our videos and commenting and sharing, because we would really
Absolutely.
appreciate your generosity in these things. Also, I request you that Roger is a musician who performs. Whenever his shows come up, please come in your numbers. Please buy the tickets and support people like Roger. People like Roger and his band Unofficial Utopia. They are part of the independent music scene in Kolkata, and they deserve every bit of your support. And they keep going, following their passion, whether people come or not, because it is their passion. But we would honestly want for people to be rewarded in a way, in such a way for their passion. We had discussed this on our earlier chat show also, that our passion should be a viable profession for us also. And in the same
Right.
spirit, I request you also, please do follow all the links I on my channel, and do try out the offerings, because I assure you they are worth your time. If you try one, you are going to really find it. Um,
Yeah, if you're fond of good conversations, this is the place to come.
and if you are fond of good conversations that unlock your creativity and lead you to tap creative resources inside and around you, and lead you to live a fuller and more wholesome life, a happier
Absolutely.
life, because this is what we are all here for, to live our lives to the fullest, and to look for every possible way to make this happen, because this is within all of us. And I think it is also our right to have the very best of what life offers. So why should we stand between ourselves and this? There is so much that can really help us all along the pathway, for you and for
Absolutely.
me and for all of us here, to live our most wholesome and our most fulfilling lives. So, with that little speech, let us come back to the topic. We had decided the topic of this chat show was to be gig.
Yes.
So, now that we have cleared one thing, I depend entirely on gigs. Roger depends partly on gigs. If Roger could depend entirely on gigs, then maybe he would not be having to do this very strenuous day job night after night, so that he can be there by day to do whatever he has to for his music.
Right.
So we
You
really
see,
do
gigs,
need your support,
yeah, we all do need
one
the
another.
support of each other. Yes, yes. As the song goes, Manush Manusheri Jonno, there's a song, no? So
Sing
yeah,
it,
it
sing it,
goes
sing
like
a
that.
few lines, sing a few lines.
I forgot I learned it in school. It it goes like Manush, Manusheri Jonno. It goes like that. I forgot the rest of it,
That
but yeah,
sounds
I
sweet.
remember that.
We've got to look it up, and maybe on the next gig we can sing it together. You sing one verse, I sing one verse. Because if we try
Definitely,
to sing
definitely.
together, Zoom,
Suddenly
that's
remembered
funny.
that song.
Oh, that's sweet. So tell me then, come back to gigs and
Yeah. You see, you were talking about my strenuous day job.
yeah,
That's also a gig for a few people, but a gig doesn't remain a gig when it is imposed upon you. A few people really find good opportunities and places to showcase their own potential inside a corporate company. They do. It's a gig for a lot of people, and God bless them. But then again, if something is imposed upon you,
mm,
then it doesn't remain a gig for you anymore. No matter how much opportunities you are getting there to showcase a few of your talents, few of your
skill.
uh, skills, yes, but it doesn't remain a gig anymore if it's imposed upon you. If it's your necessity, it becomes your very necessity of life, and you don't have another choice. Because the beauty of gig comes with the beauty of choice, that when you get an opportunity to showcase something that you choose to showcase, not you're bound to showcase, that's when it becomes a gig. And I think there should be more and more gigs for people. I mean, I do respect mm, the companies and everything. It's all right, they're giving opportunities to few people who think that those are the gigs for the people. But then again, I think there should be more choices as well. As human beings, if we choose to support each other, if we choose to be good to each other, if we choose to be ethical, the thing that we were talking about a bit earlier, I think we're going to have much more gigs, many, many more gigs, and it's going to be wonderful, no? It's going to be wonderful.
So life is going to be a whole series of gigs.
Yes, definitely.
Now,
Definitely.
these day jobs are
Hmm.
very often, I think for many people, it is, see, these are not gigs. They are a little more than gigs because there is some liability. You see, it is employment. It is not mere
It is.
engagement. There's a difference
But then again,
between
the
engagement and
definition of
employment.
gig that you said a while ago, that was also,
Yes,
uh,
that is a little, it says a job, but it doesn't really explain what kind of a job.
yeah,
And I think these are more than engagements, they are employment.
yes,
You have a relationship which is stated and articulated and elaborated and in writing.
yes,
And that's
yes,
important because there is so much that is binding. I mean, you have to get your salary on a particular date.
yes. Tomorrow is the day, but yeah, that's good.
Yes, tomorrow is the day you get it, and tomorrow you will jolly well get it. So you see, the whole point is that that's what happens with the gig. Ever so often, people have to chase. When you're doing freelance work, you know the way you have to chase for payments.
Yes,
When you
yes,
perform somewhere, you have to chase for all sorts of things. Recently, there was
yes.
a gig that
Mm.
people had gone for somewhere in the Northeast. And there was a total, it was a total disappointment and a total violation of everything that, that was either
I mean, we
spoken
were we were
or
we were
unwritten.
called for that gig as well. We cancelled in the last
Okay,
moment.
okay. And some people really, really struggled and suffered, and somehow
Yes,
or other they did not get to perform at the gig. They lost their own money also on it. So
very
this,
unfortunate.
this,
Very unfortunate.
and this is the reason that people look for this day job,
Yes,
because
yes. Very unfortunate.
people have some very basic necessities, Roger, and those, and even to fulfill those basic necessities, it seems logical that you do something that you are quite comfortable with.
Absolutely.
And
That
for
is
some people, more than for others, you see, for some people, monotony is okay. For some people, you see, we all operate on different frequencies.
yes,
Many of us are able to suspend our creative urge, our creative thirst to do something that is pre-programmed or monotonous, because
true.
we don't mind doing it because the money we get for it is worth it. Worth
Yes,
it in what sense? Worth it in the sense of providing a certain, see, we have certain commitments. Very few
absolutely.
people are
Yes.
blessed not to have those commitments. I don't call it a blessing though. I mean, there are very few people who say, I earn all this money and then what do I do? You know, I party with it and I drink it all away and eat it all away. There are very few people who are working these kind of monotonous jobs just to get that, because that is not very satisfying or fulfilling in itself. So you do a monotonous job so that it pays your bills and so that the rest of the time you get to do your art.
Yes.
The rest
Yes.
of the time you get to spend with your family. Now what happens in some of these IT sector jobs, I've been in one of them, where family,
Yes.
they will hound you out of your bed at 4 o'clock in the morning to do something or other because somebody or other who was two rungs above you was too inefficient to do it on time. Or
Absolutely.
maybe he was tardy
Though
on.
this hasn't happened with me yet, but I know people who have faced this thing, because it is a very common thing in a lot of IT sectors and a lot of
The
these kind
maximum
of.
number of young people I talk to have been talking about this. And even on my last show, I've made my show with Sri Devi, which you would have watched. I have made some more than passing references to some of that.
Yes, I
And
remember. I
what is
remember.
the point if you finally fall ill on the job because you have been driven so hard? Are you fulfilling
Yes.
anything? Either your passion or your, are you really, is that really, are those good professional
Not for
ethics?
me.
Is that
Not for
good
me.
professional practice? I think not.
No, no, not for me. Not for me, not for you. But maybe
Not
for a few people
for
that
some
is. But
people, maybe, but then maybe they are the kind of people who are happy to be enslaved. And
yes,
perhaps those
they are
people don't
seasoned in
have
that.
any very serious creative passion. You may
They are
not
seasoned
find,
in
you
that.
may not
Yes,
find all those people have locked away their passion or discarded it or disconnected themselves from it. And those people
yes,
perhaps need healing, because at some point in time, those people do fall ill from what is happening. That moment of
exactly.
realization comes. And you know, when the moment of realization comes, when the employer throws you, when the employer
Yes,
tramples you underfoot, that
yes.
is when that
And
moment of realization comes.
sometimes it's too late to start
Sometimes
over
it's
once.
too late. And there are people
Yes,
like that, believe me, all over the place. And there are
yes,
people like me to assure them that it is not too late. Even if you're 60 years old or 65 years old or 70 years old and everybody has thrown you under the bus,
yes,
it is still not
yes,
too late.
yes. Now that's the strength that you portray, and that's the strength that you have harnessed along your way, along your experiences, and you wish to share it. And that's a really beautiful thing
Yes,
to do.
I wish to help other people channel that strength which they have lost the way to.
Yes.
Because if you ask me in truth how I am surviving or how I am managing,
Yes,
yesterday I
I
met up with my old,
know how much you struggle throughout your day. I know
I
we
struggle a
chat a
lot
lot.
just to get basic things done. But then who is seeing? I am not here to tell you about so much about the struggle as about winning through that struggle.
Right.
And you see,
Right.
when I come at 6:30 in the morning with my makeup on, and I'm And I'm smiling. No, I'm not trying to tell you the show must go on. My makeup may be flaking. No, it's not. My makeup is, in fact, I have been very happy to put on my makeup, get up at 6:30 in the morning and do this. I haven't dragged myself for this show. I can tell you,
Right.
I've been awake since 4 o'clock thinking about this show and having endless cups of coffee, so many cups of coffee that I'm going to need some medicine after this. And I mean, I've also binged on cheese toast at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
So
I know.
I'm exactly like somebody who's working in. And did you read the latest blog post? I shared a blog post on chat shows and chats. I think I gave you the link
Uh,
to that. And this is
yes,
about a
yes,
son who does a night shift job and comes
yes.
home. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm thinking of that scenario, that coming home to unload to his mother makes the
right.
whole night of struggle worth it.
Yes,
And in that conversation, all the creative resources that were deployed through that night of struggle, they come to light. There can't be
yes,
any night of struggle like that without that part of it. Even when you're doing a monotonous job, there must be a background job going on. Even as you are upfront, you are focused on what you're doing. You have to be focused on what you're doing. But there's a part of you that's a dreamer.
yes,
There's a part of you also that is working
absolutely.
on how you can make this very monotonous job better. Leave alone any other
Yes.
creative work you may be doing.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Maybe because,
Because sometimes,
no, maybe because
no,
of this
making
particular
a
job,
monotonous thing
there
better.
isn't any potential for it, and you are doing the job
Yes.
on autopilot. So,
Yes. I'm mostly doing it in autopilot.
and you see, to come
Yes.
back to artificial intelligence should never throw anybody out of a job. Artificial intelligence should be there as your assistant, whoever you are. You may be a
Yes.
house cleaner. You may be doing a clerical job. You may be doing anything. You see, like a
Definitely.
computer, this whole concept
Mm.
of computers throwing people out of jobs, I find that to be wrong. I think having a computer enables you to work less hours.
Yes.
So
Yes.
work less hours. See, you see the greedy employer. Whose fault is it? Not the employee's fault, not the computer's fault. That computer,
Mm.
call that computer artificial intelligence. Crude
Yes.
example.
Yes.
Back in 1980, when I first got into IT,
Mm.
computers looked, they looked a
Different.
hell of a
Way
lot more intelligent and impressive than they actually were. And at that
Yeah.
point, for people who pioneered this, think about the breakthrough, that barrier breakthrough for them, that got them to simulate this intelligence in that big monstrous looking device.
Yes.
And that big monstrous looking device, if it did a calculation correctly, well, you
Mm.
actually patted it on the back and said, good boy. Because you were patting yourself on the back for writing a program without bugs.
No, I would pat in the back of the coder for
I pat the
writing a
back of
program.
the coder, pat the back of the person who designed the hardware. There are a whole lot of backs to be patted. And it's a
Yes.
collective intelligence which really
Mhm.
made this thing do its job.
Right.
Now,
Right.
what does the greedy employer do? He says, I'll throw one guy out and let this other guy work on that
Mm.
computer for as long as he would have worked otherwise manually. So
Yes.
who is gaining here?
No,
Some
definitely not.
slave driver is gaining here.
Yes.
Some
Yes.
slave driver is making more profit here.
A
Somebody
lot
is
more.
earning, somebody is carrying home something which is disproportionate. He's
Absolutely.
also
That
just
is true.
another person like you who used his intelligence, his natural
Mm,
intelligence, as well as a hell of a lot of slave labor. Let me tell you
mm,
that
mm.
nobody, no capitalist ever got to where he was without exploiting.
True.
You
That
look
is
at
that is
me
definitely
and look at any staff I engage and look at the difference in our lifestyles. They have a
yes.
better lifestyle than I do.
Yes,
I'm very
they do.
happy for them.
Yeah, God bless them. But
God bless them.
that's
But then it
yes,
is because of my very strong sense of equity that this is happening. One of my
that is true.
relatives asked me a few years ago as to why can't you just keep one person to do all this work? Why do you have five people coming to you? Every hour, someone is coming and ringing your doorbell. And I sort of found that weird because these five people were my support system. I was also a support system to five different people.
Yeah, five
Five
different
different
people.
people could turn to me,
Yes,
and they were
definitely.
turning to me.
Yeah.
And maybe they were all on gigs with me, but
Yes.
there was a difference between a gig with me and a gig with somebody else who hired them, because I was
Yes.
not the sort of person who would have thrown them just like that. Even
Yes.
though it
That
may
is
have been a gig, even though I didn't give them medical and PF and house rent. And
true.
that's it.
Yeah.
Tell me
Also,
who gives
one
up
more
that?
good thing that comes with it is, let's say if you hire just one person to do
Hmm,
the entire thing,
hmm,
then you are taking up most of the time of that person's life from that person,
hmm.
rather if you're giving dividing the work into five different pieces and giving small portions of that work to five different people, then you're not taking away much of their life, you're not taking away much from them.
You see, for that small portion, I reward generously relative
Yes.
relative to what another person does, because that
Yes.
person, unfortunately, because of economic strain, goes, takes
Mhm.
another job, slaves there for
Mhm.
twice the time, twice as hard,
Mhm.
doing heavy work,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
collects the same amount of money.
Yes.
And in fact, my mother used to scream at them and say, "Why? I mean, why are you taking us for a ride? I mean, who is actually dancing on your head? They dance on your head, so you come and dance on Maya Didi's head." And then she herself would say, "You see, be generous to people, be good to people." There's one, at least out of five different contracts, five different gigs that they do in five different places.
Yes.
At least there's
Yes.
got to be one gig they do where they feel a sense of homecoming.
Right.
So when,
That's
after
how it is.
all their slave driving elsewhere, they come here, and I have a part-time helper who comes. And the first thing he'll do when he comes after a hard day with his employer, who pays him
Mhm.
a huge amount of money and has him like
Mhm.
a bonded labor, literally
Yes.
like a bonded labor, will not let him go out for half an hour, which is
Absolutely.
against all human rights norms, if you ask me.
Definitely
That
is.
person still fights there with them to come out and see me and do a few odd
See,
jobs for me. And the first thing he
that's
does
wonderful.
when he checks into my house is,
Mhm.
"I am so tired. Hey Prabhu." He'll turn on the fan and lie down flat on the ground.
See, now that's how that's probably more than just a gig for that person.
Yes,
You know?
yes. That person clearly says that I come here out of affection.
Yes.
I help
That,
you, I help you, but I also take back this sense of nurture, which I am not getting where I am bonded to work the whole day.
yes. Right. Right. Now that's the gig for that person, and the rest of it, even if that person is doing the same thing over all those other places as
Hmm,
well,
hmm,
that's not a gig for that person. That's an employment. That's a different thing.
hmm,
That's a
hmm.
whole different. because
Here
here
this
that
person,
person has got a choice.
and he
The
comes
thing that I
here and he says, I tell him, okay, you know, all those dishes are too heavy for me to do. And he says, you sit down quietly. I'll do all this. I'll make them all shine. You watch. Have I ever done them without making them shine? And and then he'll come. Sometimes I'll be sitting here at my computer and he'll come running with some brass pot or something and tell me, just look at it. Are you happy? So you see how
that's
much, you see how much wholesomeness comes into that person's
yes,
life.
yes,
And then he says, look at my kids. See, here are my kids. And he'll take out his phone and show his kids.
right.
And when one such person who had this very
Mm.
affectionate connection with me, when I fell ill in 2021, when that person abruptly threw me and went, it was like a total devastation for me. I mean, that was the heartbreak of my life. To be suddenly, and this is when it really hurt me. And then I started thinking over it, you know, that am I too good to people? But then have I changed? I'll still be good to people.
Yes, that's the thing.
They want to be bad, that's their karma.
Yes,
Yes, it hurts. It hurts very badly when they're bad. It hurt me very badly last year. On
yes,
the
it
day I
does.
was scheduled to go for an important medical test, this fellow
Mm.
throws his resignation in my face.
Mm.
And that was really, really, really something that hurt me. And I think his idiocy hurts him and lurks with him. But the petty ego always wins, you know? The petty ego stops you from coming and ringing the doorbell and apologizing and saying you were foolish, you were in a bad mood, whatever it is. And can we at
Yes,
least talk?
yes.
Can I at least come in and have a cup of tea with you? Would I throw him out? No.
No, you won't.
When
You
I
will
meet him on
certainly
the
won't.
street, I ask after his kids. I ask after them by name because I know them by name and I've talked to them. He's got on WhatsApp and brought his kids on to talk to me.
Right, right.
And I know
See
each
that?
one by name and I know what each one is doing. And I was given sweets for the birth of each one.
See, that's what humanity does to you.
So
You know,
that stays with me. That stays with me. And I hope somewhere through his idiocy and his folly, it has also stayed with me.
yes.
Because I wanted to stay with him. So you see, where
Hmm.
are we? From gigs, see where the conversation goes. You see where ethics go, where, you know,
No, gigs are basically, I told you a
yes.
couple of days earlier that gigs are something that has been imbibed in us from from very ancient
Yes, you
times, you know.
told me this. I have noted this point down also. See, I'll
Yes.
here. Right now, I'm having so many ideas and so many different perspectives through which we can look at the definition of a gig. It's a very new word, but its definition is imbibed in us from very ancient times. And I have
Yes.
written a response to this. I've said, and you opened up a whole world through that line that you just wrote. I'm thinking of my life as scattered gigs stitched together, sometimes
Yes.
stacked together, maybe pieces of a patchwork.
Yes. Yes. And these gigs all together, you know, make up your entire, you know, the great gig in the sky, as Pink Floyd's song goes, the great
The
gig in the
great gig
sky.
in the sky, right?
Yes. So it's that's life itself. That's life
What
itself.
I've said here is sometimes tacked together. They are not even nicely stitched together. Sometimes, you know what people call being broken. It's
Yes.
not, it
Yes.
is not, there is nothing that, see, that again becomes a judgment. What is broken? I mean, if you look at mosaic, you
Hmm.
look at a beautiful work of art with mosaic, all those are broken pieces.
Yes, they are. They are.
And when you think of the Cohen song, there's a crack where the light gets in.
Yes.
Look at the value of the crack.
Yes.
The egg
Definitely.
has to
Definitely.
crack. The egg has to crack for the chick to hatch and come out.
Yes. Yes.
So you see,
So
broken is not a bad word, but some of these words get stereotyped and beaten around, as an I am so broken, I am so broken. And everybody starts chanting, I am broken. And then, we talk of the Broken Hearts Club and we talk about everything being broken. But then, so what? Let us
that's the
be
nature of human beings,
this
to be on the
negativity,
same
which, yes, yes,
rhythm.
always, yes, yes. To be on the same
You
rhythm,
see, I'll a
particularly
simple
negative.
example.
Yes.
A simple example, if you go to a concert and or not a concert, let's say it's not a concert, it's any kind of a public ceremony. If you go
Hmm.
there and
Hmm.
after a certain event, people start clapping,
Hmm.
and in the beginning all the claps are scattered, and our minds are made that way that
Hmm.
after a point of time we try to we try to clap together, and after a point of time we actually do clap together.
In
We actually
autopilot.
come on the same page, yeah. So it happens like it's imbibed in us, it's
Yes,
imbibed in
yes,
us, like
yes, yes, yes. So it has almost got
we are stereotyping a simple thing like a clap.
yes, I have some links on this. I'll share these at some time, about how people do what other people do. It is imbibed into them, and how this can work also for very negative things.
Yeah,
To make
it can
very
work for very
negative things
negative things.
happen. I have shared several links on this. I'll come to that. But to
Hmm.
come back to what I was saying, I've said maybe they are pieces of a patchwork quilt or pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. Maybe they could be sewn
Hmm.
together. See, a jigsaw puzzle is broken, right? It's just broken pieces. Maybe
Hmm.
they could be
Yes,
sewn together all over again mindfully, taking me towards wholeness. You see, we can
absolutely.
sew it together. You see, you can actually take everything apart, which means you are intentionally breaking it apart,
Hmm. Yes,
intentionally taking it down into its pieces to put those
yes,
pieces together more meaningfully.
yes. To rearrange the pieces in a more meaningful fashion.
Not tacked together, not tacked
Yeah.
together with this, daily jugaad or, my life is just all these pieces stitched together. No, for once, pause a little bit and take them all apart, take them apart without fear, look at them without fear. Look at the
Right.
broken edges, see what you do with those broken edges. Fill them,
Absolutely.
maybe. Fill with gold like the Japanese. Weave them into a tapestry. And when the threads
Yes.
seem worn out, we replenish, we refurbish,
Yes.
and we journey on this continuum of never not healing. I've
Yes.
explained never not healing in this.
Yes, definitely. You see, same way, like for example, if I'm a musician,
Hmm.
it's the same pattern through which I compose music as well. Not just me,
Hmm.
every single musician, every single composer who have
Hmm.
ever composed any piece of music
Hmm.
have composed that thing following this particular pattern itself,
Hmm.
like initially, what is there? Initially, there is a rule. There are ragas, there are specific scales, like
Hmm.
the major scale, the minor scale. Like, this is how the series of notes should fall in,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
But you cannot compose a song if you always put that series in that specific order.
Hmm.
In
Hmm.
order to make a song, you have to break that pattern, you have to
Break,
break it,
break,
and you
break.
have to
That way.
rearrange it,
Hmm. You see
and
what
you have to
the meaning
rearrange
of
it in
break is?
different ways in order to create different meanings.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's how every piece of art goes.
This is
if
brilliant.
you if you
Brilliant.
Yeah. If you buy a box of crayons,
Hmm.
probably in every single box of crayons the colors are probably arranged in the same way. I'm assuming. I've never
Hmm.
noticed it in such detail. But then again, probably they are in certain order,
Hmm. Hmm.
and you cannot create a painting if you constantly use that specific order to color your canvas. You have to break that order. You have to use colors in random orders in order to create what you want to create. So it goes for every form of creation that you have to break it, and then you have to rearrange the same things into, you know, something else, something that poses a different kind of a meaning,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it always does. It always have has a new meaning to, give you a new perception to give you.
Break is not always a brutal word.
Yes,
In school, we
exactly.
looked forward to something called break. The bell would ring and we would all rush out of our classrooms into the playground. That was called
Yes.
break.
Yes. Yeah, that was called a break. I was about to say that. Yes, that
Yes,
was
and
called a break, and that was
everybody is
fun.
back. Yes, that's the best kind of break, isn't it?
Yes.
And of course, what the TV people say, we'll be back after a short break.
After a short break.
Once upon a time, those were short breaks. Then those became ad breaks. So we will be
Ad
back
break.
after the ad break.
Yes.
Well, the good and the bad news, as I said, is that the ads are climbing onto my shows now.
Yes, they certainly are.
So I don't know what to tell people. Am I supposed to say, please watch the ads, bear with me? Because I will learn from those ads if you watch them.
Now, what are we
I tell you,
advertising?
or
We have
I have
advertised
no
quite a
clue.
few
I have
things.
no clue. We are advertising too. We are
Yes,
advertising
we are
Spirit Spiral
definitely. We are.
Healing, and we are advertising Unofficial Utopia, and we are advertising every possible thing sitting in our
Yes.
homes. Yes.
Yes.
Meanwhile, YouTube will pop up some, somebody's doctor wife who had some health drink or whatever. So I tell people, watch if you feel like, mute it if you don't feel like. I have no clue what YouTube earns from that. If ever I earn anything from it, I will tell you, and I will tell you thank you for bearing with those things because I got a cup of coffee off YouTube. But what you really can do for me is to spread the channel far and wide. And I can see that Zoom is making those threatening noises. And Roger,
Yes,
are we done for today?
I think we are. We
Yes,
need to save a few topics for the next
we need
sessions.
to save some topics. We will be meeting again next Sunday, hopefully.
Absolutely.
And I think you have a music workshop today where you're going to sing. What are you going
Yes.
to sing?
I have not decided yet.
You
Let's
have
see.
not decided. What are you trying to illustrate through your song?
Uh, I'll probably sing one of my own compositions.
Please do that. Please do that. And is this uh, about vocals per se, or is
Yes.
it about
Yes, it is a vocal workshop.
it is
It's
about
Abhishek's
vocals?
vocal.
So
Yes,
you're
yes.
going to be there as an example of certain vocal.
I still don't know yet. Let's see how it goes. Probably that's also gonna be spontaneous like our
Knowing Mr.
conversation.
Dasgupta, I think there'll be a lot of freewheeling there.
Yes.
But
He
what
he
I really
frequently.
appreciate is that it is a paid gig.